We're in the fall. Welcome to Wearing the Folk. I'm Cecil Fletcher coming to you down here way in the folk area of Law County, Kentucky. And we got Mr. Jeremy Foreman and a Mr. Henry Tully coming from where in the folk are you guys coming from today?
Northern Kentucky.
Northern Kentucky, right at the southern tip, just at the tip of Kentucky. It's kind of where you guys live at. Is it the part that kind of looks like it's right at the tip of it, like the
We're at the northern tip of Kentucky and the southern tip of Ohio.
It comes up to a little point and down like this, and like this. If it's a chicken leg, it's the part where it gets the thickest at, and you're on this side.
What?
Have you never heard that before? That Kentucky's the chicken, because like all the states that line up from the Mississippi make that dude. He's holding a frying pan, which is Tennessee, and Kentucky's the chicken leg.
Kentucky's a chicken.
Yeah, it's a chicken leg.
I don't think I've heard that.
You need to look into it. It's pretty true. And today we're going to be covering some more cryptids. This will be part 2 of a series that we're doing. Whenever we ain't got guests, we're going to just be throwing up some cryptid stuff. And so the first one we're going to be covering today, before we do this, let's run into some business. Make sure that if you want to be a guest, you're reaching out through Twitter at bipolar_T as in Tango, B as in Bravo, TB, bipolar_TB. Abbreviation for tuberculosis, I have heard. And you can message us there. You can email us at bipolar_teddybear@outlook.com. You can hit us up on Instagram. It'll probably take a couple days to get back to you. Or I can give you Tully's cell phone number right now. You just reach straight out to it. And that's going to be, what is your cell phone number?
555-555-555.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be a guest, just reach out to us on all channels that we receive stuff. Hell, leave a comment and we'll reach out to you somehow. If you're watching it, hit subscribe and let's get it rolling. So the first one we're going to talk about, I guess I'll take this one. Now this one right here, I kind of didn't want to talk about it, but we will. It's the Mac Daddy of cryptids. Some will call him the Sultan of SWAT when it comes to cryptids. The King of Swine. The OG.
Did you say the Sultan?
The Sultan of SWAT. The King of Swang. Thousands of people claim to have seen this thing, which is commonly described as a large, muscular, bipedal creature, usually 6 to 9 feet tall, covered in hair, usually described as black, dark brown, or dark reddish, usually smells like shit, a pungent odor is sometimes associated with it anyway. I guess this is the ones that live in this house. Because Mandy often tells me I smell like this. Does anybody know what I'm talking about, guys?
No.
Bigfoot!
Did you ever see?
So this, as you can see in this picture, Bigfoot is a tall, hairy, ape-like creature. And it's probably the most commonly known cryptid in the United States and apparently across the world. Across the world.
Bobcat Goldthwait's movie about Bigfoot?
No.
Is it that they're hunting it or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like a found footage, like Blair Witch-esque.
I thought that was
movie.
Troll Hunters or something, but I think
there's that too.
Okay.
This was. I think Bobcat has a few movies, but this one's about Bigfoot specifically, and it takes into all the like legends and the accounts of people who claim to have seen Bigfoot, like all the noises and Like the closer you get to one of their camps, like markings on the trees and little symbols and stuff.
Now, the one thing that's different about Bigfoot, opposed to all the other cryptids that we've went over, is there's stories and legends of Bigfoot before there was even a name for Bigfoot. Like, it goes back right before the last reset, you know. Like, even before that, possibly. It could go back 2 or 3 resets.
The last what?
Reset.
Elaborate on that for a second.
There's been ancient civilizations, and then they get wiped out, and it resets, and then a new civilization comes to pass, kind of like where Tartaria comes from. You know, they were part of the last reset. Now we're in a new one, getting ready to come up on the next reset.
Was that mud flood or fire? Or?
Yeah, mud flood. Some people think that it was a rapture, that Jesus raptured everybody, and their ashes left from their bodies busting open to expel their souls into heaven.
So we
created the mud flood. We missed the boat, and we're currently in hell.
Isn't this like supposed to be the 1,000-year reign where it's just turmoil?
Yeah. Sounds suiting. Yeah, things couldn't be better. You know, I'm fat, which a lot of people can't say. I'm drinking some premium blend coffee here.
You saying that triggered me to think about something. So, did you know that we're only one of 2 countries that allow pharmaceutical commercials?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just found that funny. Just ask your doctor about this. Like, shouldn't the doctor be the one like pushing this stuff on you?
So they spend like $3 billion in marketing to us, but then they spend $7 billion in marketing to doctors.
Yeah. Because the doctors have to pay off their fucking student loans and shit, so they have to push these drugs on people that they're getting that discount rate from these pharmaceutical companies. And that causes the opioid addiction, which makes everybody sheep.
Well, and every one of those companies, which is what I find crazy, technically speaking, every one of the big pharma companies are felons. Like, they've all admitted to felonious crimes at some point or another and have paid out huge settlements.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like it's helping with the dumbification of the United States and the world, which is probably going to usher in Blue Beam here pretty soon, I'd imagine. A couple weeks ago, or however long ago it was, whenever they blew up the AT&T building, everybody got to see, blew up that car next to the AT&T building. Everybody kind of got to see what it would be like without the technology that they so love, which we rely heavily on, obviously. But anyway, this Bigfoot is one of the creatures. It's just seen everywhere, man. Every continent, every country,
every state that we've done so far.
Yeah, they all have a Bigfoot. And the thing about Bigfoot, I kind of like to think that Bigfoot is probably interdimensional. Or because it doesn't make sense to me that this big, wild, hairy man could just be living out here in the woods and nobody ever run across his body or anything, you know, which I get that animals eat other animals when they die out in the wilderness. God knows I've done it. Everybody's done that. You run across something.
Do you think he's some hyper intelligent being?
Absolutely. I think he is an intelligent being because I think they're probably what people consider aliens here, but it's either interdimensional or from a different plane. And when they come here, they're just doing research, essentially.
Well, there's people who say that those big bones that they find, like all across the world, like the giants, are Bigfoots.
Bigfoots? Would it be Bigfoots or Big Feets?
So I got a question. As far as
Mr. Grammar,
as far as improvements, and I don't know whether it's technological or whatever the case is, but do you think it's more likely that the interdimensional travel will come first, or an improved host body, like we talked on a previous episode about the uploading consciousness? Because isn't the whole ball and socket joint? I mean, that's pretty primitive design, and Sam Squanch here is still subscribed to the ball and socket joints. Looks like.
Well, the thing is, if this was like, are you saying if it was like a progression to humans?
Yeah.
Do you think it's like a de-evolution?
If he already has the interdimensional, I wonder if, just, I guess, entertaining that idea, why hasn't he already improved his host body just for more sustainability?
So what I've read and heard about this, because I have heard the same theory that Cecil's talking about, it's kind of like we know five senses, and the theory is that it's not something that hops around like from one body to another, but it would be like if humans had a sixth sense, to where if our plane of existence is a page in a book, you have a sense to be able to jump from one page to another.
Yeah.
And they're saying that they just kind of like they have some sense, not to say they're intelligent enough to speak languages and stuff, but just some sense that allows them to bend reality.
Gotcha. Okay.
That makes sense. Like, and what's strange, apparently, I forget the exact number, but like 1/3 of all claims of Bigfoot sightings are in the Pacific Northwest. Pacific Northeast. That's across the water. I guess that would be in Russia, wouldn't it?
That's the abominable snowman.
Yeah, the abominable snowman. Do you think that's just somebody that got real coked out and they decided to name him Snowman? I knew a snowman one time. He's a wild guy. Apparently, everybody considers most Bigfoot sightings either hoaxes or just mistakes. Accidentally thinking they saw Bigfoot when they actually seen a bear. That doesn't make sense to me. Bears can be bipedal. They can walk on their back legs for a short distance, but their legs and contour to their body is kind of short. When it comes to a Bigfoot sighting, the leg is kind of long. It looks like a person walking.
What's your all's takes on the Patterson Gimlin film?
The one in Oregon?
Is it North Carolina? Was that where it was at?
Are you talking about the very first one?
I think that was in like Washington or Oregon.
Like the one where it like does the back look.
Yeah. Sorry, I was mistaken. Yeah, it does the pose almost.
Yeah, I think it was probably real.
Yeah, the dude. I think somebody quoted that guy as saying that it was fake though.
Yeah, because he got pressured into saying it was fake.
Wasn't he like a known shyster?
Well,
Patterson guy.
Even the boy that cried wolf eventually did see a wolf. It killed him, but he did eventually see it, So
I don't know, like, I guess you can make something out of concrete and like stamp the woods with those footprints that they found. There's been a lot of evidence, but little, not very much luck in the way of finding one of these things.
Well, one of our previous guests, Martin Shaw, on one of his episodes of Unexplained Scotland, he says that there is a Yeti ghost over in Scotland, so they have to be real if they make ghosts.
He did say that there was a Yeti ghost. I forgot all about that. God, Martin unlocking our minds.
Yeah, that was his original take too. So he's been researching it.
Yep.
Well,
I believe that with all my heart.
Epic burn on you about the turkeys.
Oh yeah. Well, you all keep eating your fucking turkeys and chickens and stuff, and whenever the time comes and you are turned into brainless robots, essentially for the veterinarians,
you remind me of the goth children on South Park. Just a conformist.
You are a conformist.
So
Some
I know
might
we
even
were.
say the man.
So I know I brought up the film and just I guess the integrity of that. This is the most backhanded compliment I guess I've ever read about it. Someone that interviewed both Patterson and Gimlin many times, he wrote, both men lacked primarily the intellectual capacity essential to the production of a hoax, and most acquaintances of Patterson volunteered that neither he nor Gimlin were clever enough to put something that detailed together. So that's the harshest way of saying, yeah, they're too stupid to do something that complex and it not be true.
Exactly. Real. So I believe it's real. I think that it is interdimensional, or it comes from a different plane of existence, and it comes here to do research because
Well, I
there's
don't even
several
know
different
about
species that
research,
come
dude.
here.
I just think like imagine if somehow gorillas evolved a sense to where they could jump realities.
Like
They're
it's
still
just
gonna
it's trait.
they're still gonna be gorillas, but for whatever reason, they can just escape into these other worlds.
Fish swim, monkeys climb, Bigfoot's warp.
That's completely possible. And it's very possible that there is just another form of humanoid species out there of some kind that just survived
Well,
and they're very
no,
recluse.
I can't remember the exact story, but if you remember when we were covering some different states, there was a Native American tribe that claimed to have bartered with Bigfoot, and it
Yeah.
was very
Caitlin told us about that.
very sketched out. Is that who told us about
Yep.
it?
Yeah, Caitlin Crawford with unboundunderground.com told us about
Yep.
that.
So, and she's awesome, by the way, but
She is.
um it was kind of like dealing with the devil, though. Like, unless you had a crew, chances are you could either get what you were bartering for or get killed and ate.
I think the ones that did the bartering were actually nice, and then that there was a subspecies that was like evil, is the way it actually went.
But she didn't mention anything of like, which we're going to be talking to her again here in February, but she didn't mention anything about like inherent unique qualities that they possessed outside of humanity, such
Sure.
as being able to warp. You know what I mean?
So it's possible because I mean we said it before on previous episodes a long time ago that there's places in Clay County where there's people that never come out of the hills and you never see them. It could be a situation like that, like maybe some species related humanoid that's just very recluse and lives in the woods.
They would have to be excellent, because I mean the chances of somebody not stumbling upon a village of these guys and girls, if there are girls or guys,
Are you thinking that they're like seahorses?
maybe. I mean,
I mean, you got
who
to think
knows?
of like the uncontacted tribes, like in Africa and stuff. That I mean, they found one a few years ago. They flew over it with helicopters and they were throwing spears at it and stuff. I mean, there could be those regions.
Yeah. And there's a good possibility that these things reside in caves, like they live mainly in caves. It's completely
Yeah,
possible.
I guess that kind of crosses over with the conspiracy world of there being another world below this one.
I mean, they very well could be from Hollow Earth, coming up to catch whatever they can. Maybe they come up to hunt deer or something because deer is like the succulents or whatever, like the best meat they've ever had.
Is there supposed to be a lot source in Hollow Earth?
Yeah, depending on which one you believe in. If you go with the one that's in the green pit, that's associated with the children of Wool Pit, the green children of Wool Pit, like Hollow Earth is just always misty with some kind of light source, and everything there is green.
I remember a story about that. So these children were supposed to have big black eyes and were green, right?
No, they just had regular eyes. Their skin, they had a greenish hue to their skin, and they were found in the wolf pit in Woolpit in I think Germany. I can't remember the time frame. I think it was like the early 1500s or 1600s, maybe late 1500s, 1600s.
Maybe it's a different story that I'm thinking of with children with black eyes.
Well, did this one tie into the occult stuff with you and Reed's episode?
No,
Okay, I thought there was something about Hollow Earth and tying into some sort of supernatural powers and Nazis and stuff.
that one's more associated with Admiral Byrd, who flew into Hollow Earth. And when he flew into Hollow Earth, he said that there was tall giants with blonde hair and blue eyes. And he was accompanied more along with by like things that you would call UFO that had the swastika on it. And
Gotcha.
the reason that the Nazis spent $8 billion in that money back then to explore the Himalayas was so they could find the elders of the Hollow Earth, because apparently the Nazism was lined up with the origins of Aryans who come from that region. And the only thing they left Tibet with was the swastika. Yeah. But anyway, but Bigfoot's just everywhere. Like, he's known as the ape skunk, the grass ape, Bigfoot, Yeti, snowman, Chief Bigfoot, all kinds of stuff, you know.
But not one tangible piece of proof.
Except for that guy that has him in his freezer.
What?
There's a guy that killed him and has him in his freezer. He's got the head of a Bigfoot.
Does he show it?
Yeah, you can look it up.
Let's show that picture.
Show that picture. Show that picture.
It looks just like a blob, dude.
It's a frozen Bigfoot head.
Click a different picture. Click that. Hang on. The one where
You
he's
see that?
smiling next to it. The one where he's smiling next to it. Is that the same thing?
No, that's different. But you don't see this one right here on the right?
Okay. Yeah, I can. It's got teeth. It's got a big beard.
Big on wide nose.
Has he let anybody test it?
I believe so. When it comes to testing these things, when these scientists come out, are they really going to say, yeah, there's Bigfoot? Or are they going to go with whatever pays them the most, you know?
Are you talking about somebody who has a massive head in their freezer? Like, that would be undeniable proof.
And at the end of the
And if
day,
it's not, then he's killed somebody and made them look like a Bigfoot. So either way, there's a problem.
well, either way it goes, man, we're only in tune to what they want us to be in tune to. And it all goes back to Operation Mockingbird. And this is a conspiracy that was later found out to be true, that in the 1950s, the CIA and the government basically overtook mainstream media to promote propaganda and everything. But, you know, it was discovered in 1974, so they had about 24 years where they actually didn't, you know, nobody knew about it. Anytime you bring it up, people be like, oh, that's bullshit. That's not real. Until it was discovered it was real. And I'm sure they just kind of stopped whenever they were found out, like, oh, no, we got found out. We got to quit doing it now. You know, and that I don't see why that would correlate over to scientists who are paid by the government. You know, how could that possibly do that? Like, because everybody knows that they're funded by civilians through grants and stuff, right, Jeremy? That's where the scientists get their money to pay for everything that they do.
I fully endorse the skeptical nature of things.
If I was to come up to you and said, I'll give you $5 million grant to continue your research, all I want you to do is check this and say it's fake, what would you do?
Well, that'd be the last person someone would come to as far as research purposes, because I know dick all about anything Bigfoot.
But what
So
would you do
if they're
you were
coming
in that
to?
situation?
Well, if they're coming to I guess, less than credited sources, then yeah, they would go with where the money is. But to say that all scientists' integrity is that questionable, then I feel that they're not even in the craft for the
Well,
sincere reasons to begin with.
the thing is, not all scientists are like that. But the scientists that come out that oppose anything like that are always shut down as being crazy.
It's a very general statement.
No, they are. Anytime they come out that opposes this scientist that's getting paid to say this one thing, and they're like, that isn't true, I've done the research, the media goes, well, they're just nuts.
Oh no, I'll definitely admit that there have been major campaigns as far as the one that comes to mind is like the sugar, the saying sugar isn't so bad.
I like getting a little sugar.
I forget like I forget the specifics.
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, or the scientists that were telling a whole group of men that they were being treated for bad blood for 40 years and they were receiving treatment to cure them, and they were actually just being fed placebos to see how long it'd take them to die from syphilis.
Oh yeah, there are shady means, but to fully discount the integrity of all scientific research is concerning.
Well, the thing about it is the ones that make the biggest impact are the ones that are funded by the government, and the ones that are independent are usually cast aside as crazy people. Just saying.
Who knows? Like, they could be interdimensional. They may just be super crafty. But up to this point, nobody has acknowledged tangible proof. Like, even if the dude has a head in his freezer.
Anthropologists, there's an anthropologist named John Napier that thinks that they're basically just something that that's considered extinct. Because back in the olden times, the Bigfoot wouldn't have been considered anything because there was Bigfoots. There was an ape that probably wasn't bipedal, but it was about 8 to 10 feet, maybe even 12 feet tall.
Are you talking like the Gigantopithecus or something else?
Yeah, I think it's Gigantopithecus. I'm not for sure on the name, but it was something that existed a long time ago. Some think it might be like a Neanderthal, but I don't think Neanderthals really got much taller than we are.
I don't think so either. And I think you meant anthropologist.
Anthropologist, yeah. Did I not say anthropologist?
You were close. It was close.
So consensus on Bigfoot, I think they're real in some form. What do you think?
I think where there's smoke, there's fire. I need more tangible proof.
I just showed you a Bigfoot head. I agree.
I'm not ruling it out. I'm not writing it off.
I agree. Because, like they said, this is like a folk tale that's been passed down before it even had a name. You figure there would be some evidence.
Let's get into our favorite Sesame Street character.
All right, so the next one that we're going to be covering, which looks like it's going to be the last of the land-dwelling creatures, because like we've discovered, there's a lot more sea-faring creatures than there are land-dwelling, is Mr. Big Bird.
Here's an artist rendering of it breaking into someone's car.
Look at that big old bird. I'm going to give that a little thumbs up.
It looks like it has wings under its wings.
Yeah.
Well, the description of this doesn't necessarily, well, it could, yeah, it may match this photo, but it talked about ape-like face with wings. Let's see, what all did it say about it?
Of course, it's in Texas.
Yeah. So It's apparently just a giant eight-faced bird, like he said, that terrorized the Rio Grande Valley. Is apparently first spotted in 1976. Uh, so the bird isn't the most adorable one. Who lives on? It's not like the big yellow bird we seen on our favorite childhood episodes of Sesame Street. You remember that song? Won't you take me down the street, down to Sesame Street? And it's Kermit getting high, like, yeah, I can't remember. It's funny. Look it up on YouTube. Kermit and Big Bird's getting stoned. You can hear him hitting bones and stuff. It's pretty good stuff.
Apparently, the first people to see this thing was two girls, and they were approximately 300 feet away in an irrigation canal. They got scared, went to get binoculars from their parents. They didn't believe them, but they saw it and saw like a monster.
They gave the best description of it. It was Tracy Lawson and her cousin Jackie Davis. They said it was over 5 feet tall. It had dark red eyes, a bald head, gorilla-like face, and a long beak. So
glowing red eyes.
Glowing red eyes. The next day, the father saw 3 toe tracks. So apparently, it's just got 3 regular toes. So it's walking around like this.
Like not even bird, like bird claws?
It doesn't say it had claws. I guess it would be like but there's only 3 of them.
There would have to be a heel of some sort.
Yeah, that's weird. And then January 7th of that same year, 1972, was it? 76. There's a policeman named Arturo Padilla. Saw something in the headlights of his cruiser. It was a huge bird. Minutes later, fellow officer Homer Galvin sighted a large black silhouette gliding through the air. They spotted the creature and they said it looked like a bat. So I guess that's where it gets the bear skin from.
There's another one on that same knot.
Yeah. And then on January 14th, Armando Grimaldo heard a loud sound like a bat's wing flapping. Have you ever heard bat wings flap? That's a pretty noticeable sound.
Yeah, I've been chased by bats.
They said that this thing has eyes as big as silver dollars. Some people compare it to the Mothman and the Blackbird of Chernobyl.
Well, the story that Cecil was getting at with Armando, he had an altercation with it. It grabbed him and tore his shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Why didn't he whip out his bare hands? Go to war with it.
Poke its fucking eyes out. Apparently,
you gotta go to war with those things.
You always gotta go eyes, throat, nut. But anyway, on January 14th, about the same time, there were several school teachers that witnessed the strange bird too. And it had a wingspan at least 12 feet across. So this fucking thing's pretty big. Do you think this is something that's in correlation with the Thunderbird?
Maybe. I don't think it's in correlation with Mothman because Mothman could allegedly speak telepathically to people.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's that. That's basically it. A lot of explanations for it is like it's just a big bat or bird. Some people think it might be the pterosaur of some sort.
You had mentioned it previously about like the water dwelling cryptids.
Yeah.
I would imagine that those would have a better chance of surviving the asteroid more so than the land dwelling ones.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it'd be kind of difficult to imagine this one would survive.
The logical thought is that it's a jemperoo, a large South American stork with a featherless face and a long dark beak, which sometimes strays into Texas.
Texas has always been a place where people report sightings of thunderbirds. So, it could be in line with that, or some birds are cave dwellers. So if it's like an ancient cave dwelling bird or something like that.
I just don't. That's one that I want to believe, but it's hard to believe. I can back the Bigfoot more than I can that
Well,
because
I mean, just think about it. Like if it has qualities of a bat, then there's a probably like a high probability that it's living in a cave and probably has access to food in that cave, so it may not need to come out often. It could be the same deal as like why people don't see Bigfoots all the time.
it could be that stork they was talking about, the gibberu, whatever, Jiburu, or it could be a flying fox. Man, have you ever seen the flying foxes?
There's
I don't
not
think
going to
I've
be
heard
a
of those.
flying fox big enough to like that thing looks as big as Bigfoot.
Well, they said it was 5 feet tall. You know, and a flying fox, they're friggin' massive, man. Um, Let me see if I can find a picture of one. So, as you can see, a flying fox gets big. They're huge, man.
It's
It does
almost
the
as
They
big as you.
opposite though.
what?
It has hair on its head.
Well, that's the thing. If you would see one of these things from a great distance, then you would kind of think that it's probably you would think that it might be a something else. It could be anything. So they could be seeing a flying fox. They could be seeing that stork because a flying fox it gets 4 to 5 feet tall, and it has
Okay.
a huge wingspan. I don't know where it comes from though, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, that's one explanation that could be for it. The next three that we have up, ah, we'll just kind of talk about them and just. It's called Caddy, Cassie, and Chessie.
So here is a photo of something that washed ashore, and this was in the British Columbia area, supposedly Cassie. You can see I can't make out really anything, but this
That
is
looks
what
like
washed up.
it looks like a fin on the left side, like hanging over.
Yeah.
So that could be something. That could just be like a strap. That could be a strip off of a whale's back. You never know.
Yeah.
Basically, the caddy is in Cadborough Bay in British Columbia, which is what he just showed us. Is said to frequent the coast of Washington and Oregon. It could be what I say. It could be I can't pronounce this, which is not unfamiliar. It's a Cataburalsaurus. Cataburalsaurus. It's a sea serpent in folklore in regions of the Pacific coast in North America, and its name's derived from the Cadborough Bay in Greater Victoria, British Columbia. So they're saying it's basically a dinosaur that's left over.
That's kind of the same narrative in all of these, though.
Yeah, Cassie's the
Yeah.
same thing. And Cassie's an enormous sea serpent in Casco Bay in Maine. It was named by Lauren Coleman, though.
I do like this rendering of it, so I want to show it.
Okay.
It looks like a dog sea dragon.
That's nuts.
That's pretty cool looking though. This one's apparently 60 to 150 feet long, so there's a 90 foot difference there, which is a pretty long distance whenever describing something. It's as thick as a barrel and comes in a variety of colors, including dark green, molded brown, and it's commonly reported as a black with huge black spots. This one, Cassie, can be seen in Maine and Oregon. Both have a Portland and also a sea monster. And then it leads us to Chessie. And Chessie is in the same vein. So American folklore, Chessie is a sea monster that's said to live in the midst of the Chesapeake Bay.
I don't
She
think
looks peaceful here.
Yeah.
I was
Now
about to say,
this-
I don't think the perspective's right on that one. It looks like it's just a little bitty thing.
Well, this one right here only gets 25 to 40 feet long.
That
And
looks like
so-
it's 25 inches long.
It's got me beat by 23 inches. It was sighted most often between the mid 70s and the mid 90s. There's been reports as recent as 2014, and it's ranked 8 of the scariest sea serpents by the Animal Planet. So,
But
So-
it looks so like peaceful and calm. It was posing for that photo.
and we might as well throw Champ in here because why not? Let's do 11 or 6. I mean,
A bonus.
let's do a bonus one here because there's so many of these fucking things across the world. Like the sea serpent and lake monster is common as fuck. Like it's more common than assholes. It seems like.
So how do they work? You know what I mean? Like, what are people seeing?
I don't know. The champion, it's among now. This one is probably the most popular one in America. It's hard to say. This could be disputed, but the champ, everybody's heard about champ.
So it's not a very good rendering. I'll throw it up as you're speaking, and then I'll also show another, like what they believe it could be.
So it's your classic Lake Ness type monster, long neck, small head, humpback. It's in Lake Champlain in New York in the Vermont border. As with many monsters, its sightings are supported by Native American tradition. So this one goes back to before we came over. So when it comes to all these sea monsters, we've discussed it previously. It's insane how many sea monsters there actually are, and they're all the same thing pretty much, except some are either just long serpents or some have little paddles and long neck and thin head.
Yeah, I just don't know what it can, because it's freshwater, it's saltwater. I mean, I just don't know what people could be seeing.
Well, here is apparently a floating tree stump model of Champ.
Yeah. And it very well could be. And there was a sighting that somebody took a picture of, and I cannot remember which lake it was, but there was speculation that it had a lake monster. And there was a picture somebody took that showed the head, the snout coming out, and you could actually see this one like swimming, and you seen the hump. But it was a fucking elephant. Because elephants can swim, and when they swim, they put their trunk up, and it hovers out like this so they can breathe out the water, and then it humps their head.
I just wonder, maybe, like, it's a certain kind of tree. You know what I mean? Like
some driftwood.
Well, and I know it's all over the world, but I don't know if anybody's ever explored the biology of these areas to see if maybe there's like a common tree that maybe gets old, and then when branches break off, they're kind of shaped the same in a way.
My thing is, what's the first lake monster? What's the earliest known lake monster?
I don't know.
Because it seems like it's one of those things that kind of collides with
I think
Bigfoot.
I think before lake monsters, there were sea monsters.
Yeah, like the octopus, giant krakens,
Yeah.
about 40
Krakens.
feet. Yeah, they were 40 feet large and attacked boats. That was bullshit until 2007.
But people saw like sea dragons though in the olden days.
Well, sea dragons, there's confusion whenever it'd storm and shit like that.
Well, it just seems they all share similar characteristics.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something. It could be something that lives in the deepest part of the lakes and stuff, but when the lake's busted up, and where do they go? Like in the previous episode we did about cryptids, totally said that there's caverns and stuff. But when they drain lakes, you can see the caverns.
It's like the beginning to Piranha. Whenever the earthquake opens up the underground thing and all these piranhas come out.
Yeah.
Well, that's just when Bigfoot, he warps in with his instant transmission and like gets them out as the lake's draining.
It could be. Like, it's hard to say what all these are. And it's just unfathomable. It's crazy to me that the majority of the cryptids in North America are lake monsters. I just don't get that.
Well, that's one of the unknowns. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I think we still got some land dwellers to talk about in the next special series. But
I love to talk about some land dwellers.
and maybe, I don't know, like, I still don't think any has been as cool as the one in Owensboro, Kentucky that what was it supposed to be between 40 and 200 feet long that ate
half of the horse.
Yeah, somebody drove their horse off into the river and didn't want to tell anybody.
So consensus on these lake monsters for this particular episode until we find one that we can just believe in. I think they're bullshit. I think they're bullshit.
We need convincing. We need an expert.
I usually believe in all kinds of stuff, but lake monsters is one thing that I just choose not to believe in because I like swimming in lakes. I don't want to be terrified to go into a lake.
So calling all lake monster experts.
Yeah, if you're an expert in it, please come on and tell us the facts behind it because I didn't research it because I've always kind of thought that lake monsters were bullshit. I would love to go to Loch Ness though, just because of the history there. And hell, maybe when I go to the lake, what gauge string do you think I should take when I go fishing for that fucking thing over there?
I don't know.
I'm gonna go fly fishing for Nessie. But that's basically the end of this one. Make sure you go check out everything. If you want to be a guest, if you have any in-depth insight into lake monsters, sea monsters,
paranormal
sea monsters, just reach out to us. Whatever it is, we're willing to talk about everything and anything to do with paranormal or cryptids or hybrid spirituality. Anything you want to talk about, really. You can reach out to us at bipolar_teddybear@outlook.com. You can reach out to us through Instagram at bipolar_teddybear. And you can call Tully at his phone number that I gave you at the beginning of the episode whenever you seen the number flash up on the screen. And thank you so much for watching us. And go and watch Jeremy's YouTube videos. I know it's not Christmas anymore, but he has a great rendition of a Christmas song, and his new stuff he put out is pretty good too. And check out Up in Fire. We're hoping to have the Simp stuff out soon. And thank you for watching us because we're watching you. We're in the fall.